For the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. We will start tonight with the public hearing on the request to vacate an alley. And that is at 303 Tanglewood, between lots 2 and 3. Is anyone going to be here to speak in favor of that, Brian?
I don't see anyone here to speak in favor of that at
Okay.
the moment.
If you wouldn't mind, I know that you've been involved with that. Just do you see any issues that you're aware of that we ought to know about before acting on this?
No, our team is okay with it. It is an unimproved alley. There is no road of any sort in that zone. The property owner has agreed to allow us right-of-way access. He wants to put a fence across. He bought the property to the south, wants to put a fence across that. Was willing to leave us even, I think, a 12-foot wide gate so that we could get trucks through there if we needed to, if we couldn't get access from the other end of that short block, if it was necessary. So we don't have any issues on our side for being able to maintain that utility pole.
And you've crossed your T's and dotted your I's in terms of us doing the proper publications and so on?
Yeah, it was in the newspaper well over the time we needed
to do
it.
Is anyone here wishing to speak about the request to vacate the alley between lots 2 and 3 at 303 Tanglewood? Don't hear or see anyone. We have a reduced council tonight. One council member has sick children, and the other council member is a sick child. So they won't be here. Tim, Kevin, this has been pending for quite a while. It's probably time for us to take action. I do think with a reduced council that there are some things that if it's not time sensitive, we probably could bump to other meetings, but this one, I'd be inclined to move forward on it. What do you guys think?
I agree.
In that case, I would make a motion to approve the vacation of the alley at the designated area with the agreements that there would be a gate in place that would allow our right-of-way to be accessed easily.
I'll second. I beat you.
Kevin Burkholder seconds. Any discussion? Hearing no discussion, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed, nay? Ayes have it unanimously. Do I have a motion to adjourn the hearing?
I move we adjourn the public hearing.
I'll second. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed, nay? Ayes have it. We'll then move to the regular city council meeting. I'll call the meeting to order. With regard to the agenda, before we seek to approve it, I would note that item 15, the executive session, will be moved to January 5. That is in the minutes from the last meeting, actually, and so probably this shouldn't have been on the agenda, but that's okay. Does anyone have any objections to that action?
Nope, no objection.
Okay. Can I have a motion to approve the agenda with that modification?
I move we approve the agenda with that modification.
All-
Moving number 15.
Second, Kevin?
I'll second.
Okay. Any discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes have it. Thank you. Consent agenda, which would consist of the minutes from last meeting, approval of warrants in the amount of $221,835.33, approval of payroll in the amount of $52,942.12, and a Marion Housing Authority Board appointment of Earl Winter to a 4-year term. That was, you should in your packet have the letter requesting that from that body, and the November financials. Anyone want to pull anything out there for discussion? No? In that case, I'll make a motion for approval of the consent agenda. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes have it. Thank you. Public forum, for those who maybe have been coming to some meetings for a while, we're trying something different. We had for a while a public forum early in the meeting for persons wishing to speak about things that might be on the agenda for action. And then at the end of the meeting, we had a public forum, the standard one for people to talk about anything they want to talk about. We've been trying, well, this will be the second meeting that we've moved that forum here and combined them. So anyone want to speak about anything, here's your opportunity. Okay. Well, the Chiefs are coming to Kansas City. Well, I mean, wait a minute, they're coming to Kansas. All right, very well then. We'll move on from the public forum and go to department heads and start with Stephen, Electric. You got that new employee there with you? Okay.
Got the right colors on. Do the job.
Jason?
Nothing real exciting, just continuing to work on trying to find some funding and different projects moving forward at the water plant. Brian and I had talked a little bit about the PFAS settlement that's going on, and I was able to visit with Rob Gavin from KDHE and also Sam Ward, I believe is the gentleman's name that's representing the law firm that would be representing us if we so choose to move forward with that. KDHE will be getting us sample bottles relatively soon. They're still not sure exactly when we'll get those, but we will test for those and we'll kind of move forward with that when those tests are made available. And I'll keep you all posted on that. But other than that, things at the treatment plant are kind of in winter mode and we're just doing what we can to do what we can.
Now, you guys did get the new cover put on
Yes.
below
yes.
the old water tower by the
We
school.
did. We're not totally done with that project, but the new one is in place. We'll go back. There's a little bit of flashing I'd like to put around that. It didn't quite line up the way it was. We had hoped that it would, so we did a little modification there, but we'll go back around and put some flashing and secure that down, and then it will be complete.
Excellent, that's good. I'd kind of forgotten about that, actually. Chief?
We have.
Time out. Chief?
Oh, I thought you were looking at me when you said
He's right
that.
behind
It
you.
was a weird thing for you to call.
Slightly off to the side. He's right behind you.
I mean, I thought it was a weird nickname, but I was just gonna run with it.
He's literally right behind you.
My bad.
Nothing new from the police department, but I just wanted to clarify some things that I said in my department head report last meeting about the speed limit sign coming into town. If there was any confusion from anybody in the community and you guys, just wanted to clear that up. I don't want the speed limit sign in the county outside of the city limits. And I hope you guys didn't think that I was coming to you guys for approval for that. I was simply letting you know that I was in contact with KDOT, because I know that approval has to come from KDOT. So, and then the other thing is,
Did somebody get confused about that, or are you just covering
yeah, there
your
was some
base?
confusion.
Oh, okay.
And then the other thing is, I don't want anybody to think that I'm moving this for city to gain money for being a speed zone. I simply want it moved for a safety reason, and that is the extent of that move.
So, when you were being interviewed for this position, I think one of the examples I gave you and asked you to comment on was, what if the city told you they didn't want you to make the city into a speed trap? And so, I'm not saying you can't write a ticket for speeding, but we're not going to make it posting people on the outskirts of town just trying to write tickets. You know, would you push back, or you think that's appropriate for the city to say that? You responded to that. And my only point being that I really don't want us to just start trying to generate money for the municipal court in that fashion. But I do want to slow people down coming into town, going by the school bus barn and the entrance to the country club that people are driving golf carts in and out of, and a block or so up the road, the crosswalk to get to the elementary school.
That's my biggest reason is to want to move it. And I have no desire to sit there and write tickets. None of that. None of our guys at the police department have desire to do that. It's simply a safety reason. I realize it's been there forever, and there may not have been any issues, but if we can go through the process to get it moved before there is an issue possibly, I feel like is a win. And it would be in the city limits of Marion. It wouldn't be outside of the city limits of Marion or anything.
There are people that live in that Eastmore area that have complained about just trying to pull out onto Main Street from the car still percolating along at maybe 50 by the time they get there.
They can be on you pretty quick when they pop up over that hill.
Yeah.
Because that intersection, it's kind of a blind intersection because you got the hill there anyway, and then you got the rise for the parking lot of the school barn. So but I know that, and I have been in contact with KDOT since then, so we're in the process of doing what we would need to do to possibly get that moved.
Would you, Evan,
Yeah,
have
has there
anything?
been any, have you gotten any further in determining what happened, or any repairs, or
For Officer Blinky?
for the electric speed sign that got damaged?
I have not yet. I have found the company that made it, and I plan on reaching out to them to see if they can give me an idea or see if they can send somebody down or direct me to somebody that can come and look at it.
Okay.
Not to jump back and forth, but what did the state, did they give any preliminary as far as moving that speed limit sign, or do they just have to look into it, or what's the process?
They're
on
going to
that?
need to look into it, but initially they were saying that there's a possibility that it couldn't get moved just because of the way the city limits is there, how it's cut in the middle of the roadway. So if you're going west, the city limits starts further to the east, but if you're going east, the city limits ends right there at the country club. So since the city doesn't have both lanes of that road, it might make it an issue moving that, but we're still doing our due diligence to check to see what we can do.
Gotcha.
So it's not a for sure thing.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Just calm down. Margot?
Yeah, we had a successful community Christmas project, and we touched like 100 individuals or families in one way or another. It was quite a year. So we weren't sure when we started out. I thought there'd be a lot of need out there, but you don't know until you get into it. But yeah, we saw some things this year. There was even several families recovering from homelessness, and just recently, there were 3 or 4. So, we do our school district and center school district, so we cover quite a bit of the county. Had some new help this year. Sheriff delivered today some. We had a couple employees from Dime Fixture come and help sort all the food. But I got to thank our guys because they helped us again for about 2.5 hours. And what they did in 2.5 hours is just incredible. They delivered food, toys, loaded food and toys. We remember back in the day before the guys started helping us, and I really don't know how we did it because it's a lot of work.
Margot, when you're saying the guys, you're talking about city staff?
City crew,
Okay.
yeah. Yeah, so I'm very thankful for them and appreciate them and proud of them and hope they enjoyed it because it really is, it's an opportunity to kind of let the public see you in another way. So anyway, If you got questions on that, otherwise, I'm working on vacation. So, I'm gonna be out of here for 2 weeks, and I've never done that before. So, I've never done that, ever. So, anyway, thank you.
Aaron, would you give that to Megan?
Great, that's gonna haunt me for forever now. Merchants, made the motion and sent over to MEDI, to hire a blog writer, to come to Marion. The blog is called One Delightful Life, and I have her proposed package here of her deliverables. And MEDI did approve that. It's under the 1,500 threshold, for bed tax. I can expand more on that if you'd like. You guys let me know.
So just to remind, we had said that anything over 1,500, we wanted MEDI to, say, yes, we recommend this or we don't recommend it. If MEDI doesn't recommend it, I don't know that it would come here, but in any event. But if it was over 1,500, we would want to vote on it. But under 1,500, we wanted to be informed of it. So that's kind of where that says. Questions about any of that?
No? Okay. I'm pretty excited about that. We don't know the exact date when she'll be coming yet. We wanted to kind of explore the options and figure out a good time when there's some fun, interesting things happening in town to really show our community off in the best light. So that's what's going on there. And then we have another grant opportunity opening in January that we could apply for. It's the T-Mobile Hometown Grant, I believe is what it's called, up to $50,000. My idea would be to basically the package we put together for the seed grant to try and improve the park. Try that again with this new grant. So kind of shine up our package a little bit more, flesh it out a little bit more, and see if we can't make that be appealing. So that'll be something I'll be coming to chat with you guys about in January.
What's the scope of the T-Mobile grant? Like, it just? in the
It's
community?
very, very open-ended. It's just to kickstart projects to help enhance your hometown. It's partnered with Main Street America. It's communities under 50,000. It lists a broad scope of what it can be applied for. So
Any questions for economic development? No?
I think the only other thing that's going on is the city logo contest is open. We've been putting out ads and posters for that, and then the economic development survey should be going out in January's bills, so that'll be coming up pretty soon here.
Thank you.
Yeah.
City Administrator.
Yes, sir. We have a note here from Janet Marler, our librarian. In the note, she wants to thank the council for the generous gift of $100 for the Christmas bonus. She says it's much appreciated, and thank you. I also want to extend my thanks to the city team that's worked hard to make Marion a nice little winter wonderland. They've gotten decorations up, some we've had for years and some new ones because they did some bargain basement shopping, which is appreciated. The new ribbons that are on the main poles at each intersection were acquired at a much discounted rate last winter. So
The way you're saying that makes it sound like they were stolen.
I did not say they fall off the truck. But
Hope
they-
that's not the case.
Yeah, it's not the case. It was like 90% off, so that's I think, a pretty good way to go. So proud of them. They rebuilt the manger and repainted the nativity figures that are in Central Park, so a lot of sweat equity there. They redid the Santa building that was over at the library. It's beautiful, so they've done a lot of work to do things in addition to the regular work. Did some pothole filling this week again, and worked on the hillside, I believe. They may have some more to go, but they made a big dent in getting some things taken care of to make it a little smoother as we drive here for winter. And that's what I have, unless you have any questions.
What's the big, I guess a bar-looking thing that's sitting on the stage in the ballroom? Big red thing.
I know the answer to this. It is a big red bar, but it was given to us for free by some folks, and we'll use it for the spring play at the high school, and then potentially spiff it up a little bit, and it can become a really nice usable counter space for events in the ballroom.
Okay. Probably not gonna be able to leave it on the stage.
Like permanently?
Yeah.
No, that's not the plan.
Okay, okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yep.
Anyone have any questions for Brian? Council comments, Tim?
I don't have anything tonight.
Kevin?
I don't either, just like I said, I do think all the Christmas decorations look very nice and appreciate everybody's work on those. I've had several people comment that, from out of town, that have been to my house family stuff, that said they really thought it looked nice downtown, so thank you for whoever is all involved in that.
Had that on my list too, very short list, but when we had the process of doing work on our streets here recently with Coble, and then talking about maybe doing something on Santa Fe, but then did do tell me again, skim patching
Skim patching on Denver.
on Denver, which until that came up, I went and drove Denver, and it was worse than I thought it was, but really pretty good right now. We'll see how long it lasts. But I just been doing more driving around town, I guess, and noticing, and I really like the projects we've done, but we need to have a work study at some time and literally just talk about street by street if necessary, prioritize, do that thing so that we know what we're doing. If you go south on Lincoln, 1 block to the old gym and take a left, you get about halfway through that, and it's kind of like a minefield through there. And we're putting traffic, lots of traffic across that. Probably that's why it is the way it is, but just one that we need to do something with, but one of many. But anyway, that's just thoughts. So, okay, thank you. And we will move then to item 9 on the agenda, the engagement audit letter from the Lloyd Group. Brian?
Yes, Lloyd Group is willing to do our audit again for the 2025 financial season. We have the letter in there for you to sign if you agree to do that. Price went down in that, shock. We're grateful that occurred. So when many things are going up, that one went down. So if you would like to continue with their services, I think the little time I've been with them, they've done a good job, and they're available if we have questions, et cetera. So I appreciate their willingness to speak at anybody's level and help us understand it.
I felt like when we were going through no city administrator, an interim city administrator, a new city administrator, and trying to figure out budgets, I know that certainly what we did last year in our budget presentation was not what I hoped we would do in my second year. And Eric has had criticisms of the budget process. Some of them I agree with. I think that the Lloyd Group was really helpful to us as we got through this process. So I'm all in for this, but what do you think?
I don't know if there's are there many other groups that do audits for cities in the state of Kansas outside of them?
There are others.
But I've been happy with them. I see no reason not to continue with them. But I don't even know what their other options even are.
I think so too, and I thought he's done a good job of kind of giving us insight what other communities do.
Yeah.
As far as from the budget process, as far as trying to build certain funds and do different things. I think with their experience, I think it's a good thing to continue with myself.
I've been very pleased with their level of their competence and what they're, I guess, he's explaining and showing us. So.
Yeah.
Do I have a motion?
What was
Basically, the question is whether we engage or employ the Lloyd Group to perform our audit services again.
I move that we employ the Lloyd Group for the audit for the 2026 year, and as
2025.
or 2025 year as they proposed. in their audit letter proposal.
Kevin?
I'll second that.
Okay. Second by Burkholder. Any discussion? None. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay. Ayes have it. Do you want me just to sign the copy I have, or do you have an original you want?
No,
me
you
to-
can sign that one, that would be great.
Oh, I'm sorry. Tell you what I'm gonna do. I made notes and things on, but
Just
the
sign
back,
that,
but it's
yeah.
a signature page.
Yeah,
I'll just
that'll be
sign
fine.
this and, well, let's move on and I'll come back to it. Brian, you wanna talk about, the property at 120 South Santa Fe?
Yes, we did acquire that property, as we said last council meeting. In the meantime, we obtained 3 bids for doing the demolition work on the home and the garage out back. All 3 of those bids are listed there on the letter, plus the individual bids are in the packet for folks to review. Consideration was made for the exterior shingles that were found to have asbestos in them. And we're recommending the Het Excavation Group do that job for $7,500.
Questions?
Will they take those trees out that are on the east side of that? Well, they'll probably about have to get
I
that
think there's
house out of there.
like 3
won't they?
trees they'll have to go with that,
3 or
yes,
4,
for them to
yeah.
get in and get it.
And they were planning on doing it in the first quarter of 2026, so
Yes,
before, close to spring, start of spring
yeah.
by then. For,
Brian, I like the price. The question I did have was, the other 2 specified, what they're doing. Whereas the Het bid, didn't really break it down at all. Do we have some reason to think that they will do, for instance, the others, put in prices for fill dirt. We don't know what this one's gonna be. I mean, any of that we need to worry
It'll
about?
fill the hole, it'll remove the house and haul it to the landfill, and includes all the charges, et cetera, they'll incur to do that. I think one reason the invoice may be lower, the bid may be lower than the others, is you have a piece of large equipment that can, make short order of that, is my understanding. That equipment is not in the state at the moment, but we'll be back after the job is on, that's why we're saying first quarter.
So that will then be leveled out?
It'll be
and
leveled
back
out
to
even,
Grade?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Has anybody, either one of the neighbors on either side of that, expressed any interest in getting that little piece of
One
property?
of the neighbors has expressed interest to me. I've not spoken to the other one yet, but we'll approach them once we know it's cleared out and they can
Gotcha.
see what it looks like post demolition.
Okay.
Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion, we accept the bid from Het Excavation to remove the property at 120 West Santa Fe.
I'll second.
Motion and second. Further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes have it unanimously. Okay, back to you, Megan. The Attraction Development Grant.
I'm gonna come over here so I can spread out my brain. All right, so we have been talking about this project to expand the Rhino Tour. And I sent over the rough draft of the grant application. I am proposing that we work to try and bring the Rhino count up to 150, with it being the 150th anniversary of Marion's incorporation and the 250th anniversary of the United States. I think it would be a fun marketing campaign as we work to get all of those rhinos out and decorated. I have been going through the community, speaking one-on-one with different organizations and businesses to see if they're interested in sponsoring a rhino to put out in front of their business, or to donate towards another business, or to donate towards some of the public land like parks. And you'll notice on here the pledge sheet, which is the individuals thus far that have agreed. And we are up to 18, I believe, pledges on rhinos just within this last week. So I feel like we've got a lot of interest within the community with business owners that want to participate. Also suggesting that we do some murals within the community, to bring more public art. You know, arts and culture is kind of a proven economic bolster and draw to communities. And when you add quirky to that, you know, quirky sells. So this is just a great way that we can get people who are already in the area, catch their attention, and draw them on into our Main Street commerce area, increase a little bit more visitor spending. I did talk to the county commission today for permission to put some rhinos on county property as well. I'd love to get some rhinos out at the county lake especially to help catch that interest with campers who, you know, they might venture in for groceries but may not spend that much time and money in the community. Hopefully catch their eye and entice them to come spend an afternoon taking the rhino tour, get them to local restaurants, local stores out front, catch a little bit more interest there. So I did get, we have permission pending staff approval of the exact placement for us to put rhino statues on county property. They do not want us to put the large sign kiosks, so I'd like to brainstorm some other ideas of maybe putting some smaller like QR code placards or something so that we can have the information there and readily available for people, just within the footprint of the statue itself. But, so I will need to make some adjustments to the budget, taking out some of those bigger signs, all that good stuff. The budget that I've worked out so far is assuming that we get all of the sponsorships for all of the proposal and whatnot, and I can adjust that as we see fit, take things out, add things in, however we'd like to send it off.
Megan, talk a little bit about the allocation of cost for a rhino.
So the medium-sized rhinos are usually priced at $300, but with the grant assistance, we're able to take that cost down to $200. The larger sized rhinos are normally $650, but with the portion that the grant covers, that price could go down to $400.
And who are you anticipating pays the non-grant portion of that?
The businesses and individuals sponsoring, with the exception of murals and rhinos that we're looking at putting on public property, because I feel like unless an organization offers to donate that rhino, that's not any one organization's responsibility.
Other questions for Megan?
So like, so would the county pay for those?
The county did not offer to pay for them. They're just giving us the permission to put them there.
Gotcha. I know it's hard to pinpoint that, but I mean, do you really feel there would be that many people that come to look at those?
I do. Do I think people are going to travel clear across country or clear across the world to come and see the rhinos? No. But I think when people are already on the fringes of our community and something catches their eye, the goal and the idea is to draw them down into our downtown.
Right.
With the highways bypassing us, we get a lot of people that are on the fringes of our communities. The reservoir, the county lake, out at the ball field, things like that. And how can we catch their interest and draw them in specifically to the places where we would like them to see and to be. And so I think that this is a great way to do it. It's a method that's been proven in a lot of different communities. We have, you know, the Parade of Cows, the Parade of Hearts, you have the Dala horses. Caldwell just rolled out their box turtles, and I do believe that they were a tourism attraction grant awardee last year or the year before specifically for that. So it's worked for a lot of other communities. But what makes our community unique with the rhinos is this was an entirely community-started project. It's entirely community done. It's all artists within this community that are painting these rhinos. And so I think it's a really great way to showcase our creativity, our talent, bring a little bit more of the community together, but also have a quirky element to catch people's eyes. Everybody has a pretty town, you know? Everybody has nice people. Everybody has cool places to eat. Sometimes you have to embrace the quirky. Weird sells.
Right.
When I was in Council Grove, Kevin, I was involved with Chamber of Commerce, stuff like that. And one of the things, they have a lot of tourism. Now, they also have a lot of historic sites. But most of the people that, you know, in my perception, this is anecdotal, were people that were coming to stay at the Cottage House, which, you ever go to Council Grove? Yeah, I mean, you know, it's a historical hotel. And then they would eat at the Hayes House. And then, you know, when you're not in the historic hotel and not in the restaurant, what do? Well, they mostly seem to drive around. Now, they would also walk around and through to downtown and go in the stores that, many of these people were from Kansas City, Wichita, whatever. They seemed to think it was so, I remember how they loved the Duckwall store, thought it was the coolest thing in the world. To us, it was the store, and to them was, I don't know, Hootersville or something. But there was a show that had Hooterville in it.
Yeah, familiar with that
okay.
show.
Oh, you remind me, I'm usually the youngest one that you're trying to explain it to.
The point is that when I moved here, and I was thinking about the flow of people, Marion had, the Council Grove had 2 lakes as well. Well, Marion has 2 lakes. So, same thing. We now have a historic hotel that would does far surpass the Cottage House. But there was for a long time really no place that you would drive from Kansas City to stay at a hotel and go eat. Well, now we not only have the parlor right there in the cottage, the Elgin, but we also have other restaurants in town that are somewhat quirky, some of them. So there's options. So you don't have to come here and eat at the same place for the whole weekend. You can try the thing. But we also, with this, it's something to do. They can drive around, and we've had these rhinos since we started it with Chingawassa days. It was organic. People just did it. If we can get that spirit going again, and you can put whatever a car wash rhino looks like in front of your house.
You can decorate them in shams.
Yeah, there you go. Then it goes on the map, and people drive around, and hopefully while they're driving around, I mean, I'm clearly on board with this. While they're driving around, it gets them to parts of the city they would otherwise not get into.
Have you had much feedback from people in the community when this has been brought up now?
It's mixed, but I would say from the feedback that I've gotten personally when I'm talking with folks, it leans more towards the support. I've had a lot of people that I came in and said, hey, I'd like to talk to you about the rhino tour, and before I even get a chance to expand upon that, they're like, oh my God, I want a rhino. So I think that there's a lot of support for it. There are, of course, some people who aren't huge fans of the rhino project either for varying reasons. And I understand that nobody has to love everything that we do, but I do think that it is a good project that could be really beneficial to the community. I've gotten a lot of feedback from Tammy, for instance, at the Elgin. A lot of their guests ask about the rhinos. They give them the brochure. They really enjoy walking through town, trying to spot them all, and learning more about the history and why the rhinos are painted the way that they are. Part of what I want to do and part of what I'm proposing in this is I would like to, one, expand the map, add a little bit more information in the map itself, but have a digital guide for it as well, where we can really get into a story about each individual rhino. Why did you decide to decorate it like that? There's great stories about why we have the rhinos themselves to begin with, but then a lot of the people that you go to that have rhinos in front of their businesses chose to decorate their rhino a specific way for a specific reason, and there's a lot of great stories in that too. So it's just like, a historic house tour, things like that. It's something for people to do that they can connect with, that also gives them a little bit more insight into our community and what's important to us, what we value, and what we want to communicate to the world.
The one thing I do see positive things, but one thing when someone's coming into a community, or especially like when in sales or that, when you don't have any connection with the person, and they come in and go to your coffee shop and see a rhino, and then they finally open up and say, what's up with the rhino? It identifies them as a tourist, well, it's, probably not from here. Mm-hmm. And then engages them in a conversation. It's, oh, that's the rhino, and you give them a little explanation. They said, are you new to, then it gives you the opportunity to say, well, are you guys visiting? What are you here for? And then, well, maybe I'm out looking for antiques. So they say, okay, well, really, do you know there's these 3 antique shops? So it just opens up that opportunity for conversation that otherwise keeps us in a mute society where we do our transaction, walk away, and don't engage in that special way. But on this proposal, if it was the full number of rhinos with the murals and that, you know, the total funding was, total expense was $56,228, with the grant and the state covering $22,446. Now the city match then would be a maximum, if everything went through at that cost, would be $16,812, correct?
Correct.
That's the,
Because, like I said, it is a 60-40 grant, so the city is responsible for 60%, but up to 50% of that can be in-kind match. So volunteer hours painting, labor to install signs or move rhinos, all of that we can count towards our matching portion of this grant. And then, of course, sponsorships takes up a portion of that as well.
But like the rhinos, you had down there like 32, and you said you've got, what, sponsors for 14?
18.
18. So then, let's say that nobody else wants any, then is the city committed then to pay for the other 14?
If we put the entire 32 on this without
the
pledges
grant.
for all 32, then yes, the city would be responsible for the remainder.
Gotcha.
I've been collecting pledges for about a week. I need to send this in January 7th, so I have more time to collect more pledges. If we want to say that we only want to commit the city to the amount that we have pledges for, then we would just take that number down.
Gotcha, okay.
Like I said, the county does not want us to put the large signs out, so I'm already gonna take that down on the budget, either take it out entirely or take the number down. We can decide what we would prefer.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
do you feel that the 150 is going to be a difficult goal to attain? I see it as quite of a lofty thing.
Well,
Versus if we did get 100 and called it a success, you know?
yeah. If we
to-
just got 100 and called it a success, I still think that that's a win. We do have 74 rhinos on display right now, so we're over halfway. Yeah, we're halfway to 150. So, and the murals that I'm suggesting gets a lot of rhinos in a small amount
Yeah, I'll get
of
that.
space
Okay,
too. So
makes
that
sense.
helps to make that a little bit more realistic.
Have we confirmed there is no other rhino capital in the state of Kansas that's claiming that title currently?
No
Google
one,
has not suggested any others to me.
Okay.
no one has stepped up to
I did look at the world's
challenges.
largest rhino sculpture. Technically is the one in San Antonio, the 3 last remaining white rhinos that are stacked on top of each other, and they're 17 feet tall. So I don't know if it goes by height, but that'd be a hard one to beat. So, but
So
Give
where,
me a challenge.
what was the thought on the murals?
So I would like to do a mural around East Park, and that's the one that's the white background with kind of the dancing rhinos around it. And I would love to elicit some high schooler help for that. I think that that would be a perfect opportunity to showcase some of our high school artists. We also have an idea for like a Rhino Capital of Kansas rhino mural that has kind of cartoon renderings of historic buildings within our community in the background. And then in front is rhinos that are marching that are different occupations, like some of our largest hirers in town, or smaller rhinos that are carrying, you know, football, volleyball, basketball. So it's kind of a community, a representation of our community, but also in celebrating the rhinos. And then another mural that I'm suggesting, and this is on, again, business owner dime, is on the back of Bill and Essie's as you're coming in from Sunflower, the boarded up windows. Doing different colors with different rhinos, doing funny things in those windows, and that greets you as you come in on 3rd Street.
Yeah, I think that would be a great spot, because
It
you
might
can get
en-
a lot of people in from that
it
direction.
might
And it
entice
needs
some
to be
other
prettied.
it might entice some other businesses that have second level empty windows just to put a mural in too.
Yeah.
It'd be pretty easy to add a rhino. I had another question. I don't know what it was now. On the East Park, then you're thinking probably of those old racquetball courts, the walls. It would be kind of
Yeah.
a thought of a possibility. What you're
Yeah,
thinking.
wrapping the outside of the racquetball courts, I think would be a really great place for it.
It would be the first use those have had.
Well, and if they do become bathrooms in the future, it could still be a mural
I
on
hope,
the outside.
I hope, yeah.
We had a visitor into City Hall last week, and the first question wasn't on our agenda, but the first question was, what's with the rhinos? And so we gave, I learned that history when I got here. That's one thing I thought of, why a rhino in the middle of Kansas? So I was happy to see the display at the museum on Chingawassa Days, et cetera, and learn about the history off the Chingawassa website, because they have the information about Pete on there. So, yeah, so it does happen.
So, gentlemen,
When is this, do you have kind of a deadline with the time, what's the timeline as far as having to have, if we approve it, to have the approval? Does it have to be pretty immediate, or what's our timeline looking at? I know we've asked this before, but refresh my memory.
Yeah, the deadline for this tourism attraction grant, I need to submit it by January 7th.
Okay.
what's our first January meeting, the 5th?
And there's no, we can always turn the grant down too if we were to get it, if that had to come to it, but.
I would prefer that we
wouldn't
not
wanna
put
do
ourselves in that
'cause then it hurts to
situation.
get future
Hate to
grants.
get
Yeah.
something and then pass.
Yeah,
I would agree with that.
I believe we thought we could use the cash portion would come out of economic development.
yeah, it could be a good use for bed tax also.
Yeah.
Are you okay with us putting this on for a decision on January 5?
Yes, yeah.
I think it would be best to have the opinion of the two others that are absent to.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
the hope is that we kind of have the basic framework down, and we could adjust that, how many purchase we want to go above, if we want to go above the commitments, and she'll have a chance to get maybe more commitments towards buying rhinos, but we just want to keep the alterations to that to a minimum, since it's due. We'd like to turn it on the 6th, so we're not last minute.
Right.
So you said the portion to the city at this point was 16,000 and something, but then if you get more commitments on the rhinos, then that part will drop, correct?
Right now I have it written where we have all of the commitments for the rhinos. So right now I have it written where that would be the city's portion, and all of the rhinos sponsorships are filled. Now, when I take out the signs or I take down the signs, that's gonna take down the city match portion.
Okay, can we move on?
Yes.
Okay, so are we in agreement to carry this over to the January 5 agenda
Yeah.
for action? Let's move then to the HEAL grant. Megan?
Gina's signaling me something.
How about a large one?
Oh, you want a large one, okay. Well, there we go, 19 pledges. Okay, the HEAL grant is a little bit more pressing. So I had seen a newspaper article where they had closed the HEAL grant, so I thought that it was done. And then it was brought to our attention that in fact that is not the case, and the HEAL grant is open. But unfortunately, the deadline to apply for the HEAL grant is December 31st. We would be looking at using the HEAL grant for this building, to replace the hot water heater, bring hot water back into this
Yeah,
building.
to bring hot water to the
Into the building, period. We're also looking at repairing some of the toilets and the restrooms, a sewer valve, new gutters, because we have water intrusion happening over here because of a gutter leak, new storm windows, and then we are talking about also using a portion of this HEAL grant to bring back in the sound and lighting in the auditorium, and potentially projection equipment to be able to do second run movies, bring traveling performances into the auditorium. The HEAL grant is a one-to-one match, so whatever we ask for, we have to match. This one is a little bit more troublesome also because I'm waiting on, it was kind of a last minute notification that it exists, so I'm waiting on a lot of those bids. So right now, there's only 2 bids that I have an actual concrete price for.
That was gonna be my question with all the rest of the unknowns on
Yes.
what amounts we'd be coming up with. Is there a limit of price? Is there a cap on this?
Yeah, you can apply for up to $100,000.
So how much what are you proposing?
I don't have an exact total yet because I'm still waiting on on a few more bids. I've asked them to get them to me by Christmas, so I'm hoping to get bids tomorrow and Wednesday, to be able to have a final total on it.
What's your deadline again?
I asked them by Christmas.
No, I
The
mean,
grant deadline
the
is the
31st.
31st.
Yeah, we literally found out last Wednesday
Yeah.
about this, so it's a scramble. We had some of the bids already for some of the work, the hot water heater and the hot water and cold water line replacements in the building, because we were gathering those already. Should have a grant, or, a bid on the storm windows, maybe by
Hopefully
Wednesday.
And the gutters.
And the gutter replacement on the outside of the building.
So all that, to me, those things that absolutely have to be fixed, we're gonna have to do anyway,
It's some,
the way I see it.
yes.
If there are items that are immediate needs, if we get the grant, then great, it covers half the price. Versus, we don't do it and we pay the full price. And either way, we need to do it for those items. I guess if all of those items we determine are immediate.
The other thing
needs.
to keep in mind with the HEAL grant specifically is it's allocated to bring historic buildings back. We can't use it on the city offices. We can only use it on the community center side of this building. And one of their caveats is they want to have an occupant in that building within, I think it's 30 months of it being done. So they're thinking like bringing a business in. But that's why I'm proposing that we go ahead and we move with that idea of turning that community center stage into a space that can be rented privately like we already do, but then a performing arts space, a performing arts center for this community, because that is specifically something that's listed within their grant parameters, that it can be used for performing arts centers.
Would you have a rough idea of just for the stage lighting, stage sound, and the projection equipment of like ballpark of what you do?
I don't have it yet. I don't wanna throw any numbers at you,
Gotcha.
cause I literally don't have an idea.
It's just because those would be the items that I would say are as immediate as the rest of them, to where the rest of them are gonna cost the same whether we had the grant or not.
Correct,
Where those would be kind of a bonus to get them covered, but the question is
Yes.
how much to spend on them. And obviously, there's gonna be options of what you
Right.
want to spend on them.
well, and the other thing to think about is if the goal of this is to bring this performing arts center to be usable and beneficial to this community, then have it occupied within the 30 months, if we take away the things that are specific to the stage, it makes it less of an,
That's appealing.
yes, if that makes sense.
Be approved.
well, but we can't vote without an idea of how much we're voting for. So are you proposing that you educate us tonight and then have us set a meeting before the first of the year?
Well, it would have to
Or
be like
if
the
you wanna,
30th.
you wanna set it a cap of, we won't spend more than $15,000
It'd be more, but we
or
said
$10,000.
anything under an amount, we would approve it, and anything over.
Yeah, the bids are gonna come in on the performing arts side, maybe in phases, lighting, electric, sound, they could be separate. We can à la carte off that if you wanna set a cap for it. Or wait and come back next week, if we hopefully have solid bids in. I know it's a little bit of cart in front of the horse, that's not how we wanted it, but, or if you don't wanna do it all, we'll just kick the can and we'll,
Table it and wait till next time.
yeah, do it
Is-
when we have everything.
Is this an annual thing that typically comes back each year, or to just come back next year and
It's been
do
back.
phase two?
It's been in existence since like 2020, I think. And it's been annual every year since then.
So I'm a little confused on the occupancy part. So how would we define if you have an I mean, that's like if it rents out one time in a year, is that considered having an occupant in there?
No, they want it to have like a functioning business or a functioning organization within it. And that's why the proposal of if we're using it as the community's performing arts center, then it's occupied. There's
Oh, okay.
something existing within that space. We can still
Okay.
privately rent it out like we have been.
Okay.
That
But
was
there's
your-
like an entity.
That was the
filling it.
MMAC, I believe you called it.
Yes, yeah.
The other thing is that we will not rent the kitchen in the current condition because there's no hot water.
Right.
We replace that, we can go back to, making that available for whatever community activities, or they need a kitchen involved in it.
No ice machine either, Brian.
It's correct, but with new water lines, we should have that problem fixed.
I've been mayor for 2 years. My first priority was to get an ice machine.
But I bet you there's ice in that freezer right now.
So Megan, I think it was at the MEDI meeting here a while back, was talking about, I don't know that she really, her vision was that you could have on a, whatever, whether it was once a month or every other month in the ballroom, it could be a movie, bring in a classic movie and tell all the businesses in town, hey, we're gonna have a John Wayne movie, The Searchers, or whatever. And they could all make a, if they wanted to participate, a special dish that night, or maybe whatever. And then people would come, of course, you charge to get in and so on. And, or maybe once it's not a movie, it's a comedian,
Like
whatever.
bring in a comedian, or I'd love to bring in like the Nutcracker at Christmas time, or like, things like that. Bring in live shows into the area as well.
Wouldn't be Christmas for me without ballet. I've actually been to the Nutcracker at the Kaufman in Kansas City, but I went once, I'm done.
So we would be coming up with 50% match of whatever we'd be proposing.
Yeah.
Have you looked in the budget, like where you think those funds would come from, and what would kind of be a limit of what we'd be looking at of those funds?
Depending
If
on
it
how
was
grants come in, bed tax available on that one?
I'm not sure.
Okay,
Yeah,
we'll
look
have to
into
do
that.
a little more identifying, so I
Because
mean.
that would also help identify how much we're comfortable spending.
Right, and we just need to see really what the rest of the options are. We're $8,000 rough, 8,600 I think it was, is the worst case scenario on replacing the 2 water lines and the hot water heater for that work. We're doing storm windows only. It'll also just be on the east facing side of the building in the community center to prevent leaking. So I don't know what it's gonna be yet, but
Hot water heater and the toilet repairs was 10,237. That's all that's on there so
excuse
far.
me.
What's the thing that we need so that this room doesn't flood like it has been?
well, we're trying to
Sewer
get that,
valves.
yeah, we're trying to get a check.
Sewer
Yeah,
valves, check
valve,
valves,
yeah.
Valves.
Trying to get a
But we
check.
don't have a number in there on that? Okay.
They
They
haven't,
haven't sent that bid yet. I called them
No.
again today about it.
we've pinged them a few times trying to get that. It's a little bit complicated not knowing exactly where everything is in the building, but they've had eyes on it, so hopefully they can get it ironed out.
What would it take for us to properly be able to vote before the end of the year?
Have to come back for a special meeting just to do that
Is there
next week.
any restrictions on us being able to do that in such a short period of time? Other than some of us may not be here. Well,
We have to give notice, obviously.
I didn't know if we have time to give those notices at this point.
I think we have you'd have to publicize it, and then you have to send specific notice to the people that have requested it, which are the paper's one, and then there's a few individuals.
My question is, we still have that time
Oh, yeah.
frame still?
Plenty of time.
So that's one option. The other option would be that I look to you and you, or we look to you and you, and say, what if you throw a number at us and ask us to do what you said, which is approve anything up to that, that would cost us up to that number? What number would you say?
I feel like we're on the prices right now. Higher, lower.
Lowest bid without going over.
Is it
Ah.
100,000? That's what the grant came for too?
Yeah, we're not gonna go that high, I don't think.
Like,
15, I just
what
don't
would
know
the
what.
city be comfortable with that being the city's responsibility?
Well, I don't know.
Yeah, it's not a budget item, obviously.
Right.
Popped up, so, we know we have some extra income coming in for the year, but we don't know, of course, what all will happen, so we hate to spend it all right off the bat, but, the base, repairs, in my mind, are pretty urgent. Is that enough to get us the grant alone? I don't know, probably take the combination of activity to draw a participation in the building. 10, 15?
For our portion,
Yeah,
which would double that to be 30
yeah,
for the total amount.
yeah. You wanna do 10, if you go 10, then it's a double as a 20. We know we've got what we got in. Now, the toilet and the sink repairs are separate of that. We're doing that on our own here on January 5th. They'll come in to do that. So that portion won't be on the grant. But the water lines, at least what I saw today, the water lines and the hot water heater were they 8,600?
It was 86 for
Going by
the,
memory, but
8604 is the number.
yeah,
Yeah.
so yeah, that would be for that part.
So I think the question is, do we want to just say, okay, we're gonna pick a number and go up to that? Or do we say, okay, you've educated the three of us, and when you have a firm number, we can set a special meeting?
I'd be more comfortable with the special meeting.
Yeah.
That's fine. I agree. I agree. We don't
If
have
it
all the
was
bids
limited
in there.
strictly to this and we didn't need that portion of
Yeah.
the performing arts portion of it to even get it, I'd be like, oh, I'm all for this, but adding on the rest of it is totally unknown.
yeah.
Is next Monday the 29th?
Yes,
What
it is.
Yeah.
Well, special meetings need to be for one thing.
Right, there won't be anything but that.
Right.
So we would be setting a special meeting for next, I guess we're all on board with Monday, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Monday, I assume at 5, to consider whether or not we're going to authorize Megan to apply for a HEAL grant, and if so, in what amount?
I'm good with that.
Okay.
To surprise the other two with their,
Yeah, teach them to not
Yeah.
show up.
what are you doing Monday? That's what.
All right, I'll make a motion that we schedule a special meeting for Monday, December 29, at 5, for the purpose of discussing the HEAL grant and potentially approving application for a specific dollar amount.
I'll second that.
Burkholder seconds. Have we beat this to death? Okay,
Pretty
all in
nice.
favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed, nay? Okay. Special meeting next Monday.
Thank you.
Thank you, Megan.
Thanks.
Just for what, I'm speaking for myself, no one else. It's gonna be, some of the things that we've talked about, I totally agree with what Tim said. They have to be done at some point. I mean, you don't have to do them tomorrow, but we can't put them off for 10 years either. Other things are more optional, but they may be the things that allow us to get the grant. So I'm encouraging you and Brian to really put your heads to it on this and come back with, a recommendation that you can defend.
Fair enough.
Okay.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, there won't be other, not that there won't be other grant opportunities, but some of the other ones that are available are a little harder to get.
And besides, what else are you gonna do the next week? It's not like it's, like I said, it's Christmas.
No, we're pressing our vendors for things, apologizing for the late request, but they're all pretty willing to try to help us figure it out, so we appreciate that.
Okay, 13, update to placing and maintenance of containers, the ordinance.
Yes, we talked about the ordinance, last meeting about, updating the current code in the city code about trash collection and placement of containers. Right now, it only talks about the alley services in there, so we've modified that to include collection from the street because we have a few places where there are no active alleyways. So in the last couple of weeks, we talked about having it out by 8 a.m. on the day of scheduled collection, and then no earlier than 5 p.m. the night before, with the container to be out away from the curb within 24 hours, back to the appropriate storage location on the property. Really no changes. The last meeting, we just added the potential for fines, should we wish to go after that.
Which will not be jail time.
No, it will not be jail.
Clarified that in the last meeting.
We're not interested in that.
I know Burkholder pushed hard, lock them up. I did have, the main question I got, and it was in a group meeting, was basically about whether we're seriously wanting to, start ticketing people for their trash can. And I want to stress, this is, it's gonna be complaint-based, and the purpose is, it's one thing if,
Boxa,
Kevin-
you can always use me as an example, that's all right.
yeah, if Boxa doesn't
I'll
get
do it.
his trash can back up to the house that day or the next day. But it's another thing if I'm his neighbor and it never comes off. It's always out there, blowing over in my driveway or whatever. It's just basically, if you're a good neighbor, this isn't a problem. And if we were to do alley collection, then it's gonna be on one side of the alley. If the next guy's,
Yeah, that
Yeah.
would be in the case for the next topic of
yeah,
discussion, yes.
but my point is,
Yeah,
then I would have to take, if I'm on the wrong side of the alley, my stuff across the alley.
mhm.
So that meant I would be placing it on the right of way of my neighbor's house,
Mhm.
which would make it all the more important that there be some way to make sure people get their stuff picked up.
We probably have to modify this again for that
Yeah,
purpose, if we
I
go
know,
that, if we go that route.
I'm just pointing out, it's another point to have
Yes,
this in place.
yeah, absolutely.
If we are to move forward with anything that we're potentially proposing in our next item, would there be much point to even pursuing this if we're gonna have to make any further adjustments to timing and all that? Or we just do
You're,
it, just have another ordinance to correct this one?
well, we haven't had it in effect right now. I don't know that we're getting lots of complaints about it, but we just felt like the code as we go through code and we look for things that we don't do that way anymore, and we just need to make sure everything is cleaned up and where we're at today, or even next week. Then no, you could table this, and if we wanna wait till after the discussion on, refuse collection as a whole, then we can wait and modify it again to reflect whatever the current level of service.
I didn't know if it would save us any expenses by not
It would.
doing it twice
It
versus
would.
just waiting
Yeah, we
till we
just,
confirm,
We'd have the publication costs, so
yeah,
it would save.
it'd save a few $100
save a few $100 by just
waiting.
continuing to discuss it at every meeting like we are.
Yes,
Give us something to talk about. So,
you're correct.
just throwing that thought out there.
Is there a motion in there somewhere, Mr. Boxa?
I'd move that we table it until we have a more firm idea of whether we want to pursue any other agreements in other options for trash collection. I'll put it that way.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second discussion. I'm gonna vote no on that simply because I think this is ready to go. It's cleaning up our ordinances to make them fit the current situation. But I'm also not gonna stomp and leave angrily.
We'll see.
We'll see, yeah, you're working on it, aren't you? So, all in favor of the motion to table the ordinance 1522, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Nay. Ayes have it, and we will table it.
Okay,
Can I ask a question?
yeah.
Well,
Oh,
yeah, what the hey? Yeah, go ahead. But, sir, I do need you to come up here, because I want people that are watching to be able to,
Well, then a couple.
don't push your luck.
No, it's just that I heard, away from the curb. And what do you mean by away from the curb?
back up to the property and not sitting in the curb side. So you would remove the trash can, pull it back up to your house, side yard,
Well, I mean,
garage,
when you put your trash out, you put it, what?
at the curb.
Okay.
Yeah,
all right.
and then remove the empty one after it's
Yeah,
been
yeah,
collected.
The main reason is to be not obstructing the flow of the curb.
Right,
for
because if
drainage
it's
and
winter
such.
time and we need to plow, we don't wanna plow over a perfectly good
Yeah, I got
refuse can.
Um, when they come and collect my garbage in the alley, they get, the east side and the west side. And, I know my neighbor across, and we put our garbage, he puts his garbage can on his side. And when the truck comes down, it takes the whole alley, and the guy in the back takes both.
If we were to accept the proposal to privatize trash collection, they would be running a truck that would only collect from one side, and it would
Oh,
pick
the
it.
automatic thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks.
Yeah, you bet. Back to you, Mr. Bryan.
Okay, so based on that note, that is what we're gonna talk about next. Potential for privatizing our trash pickup is we've talked about the study session, I think October. We talked about the need to increase our trash rates because I guess if we were Costco, it'd be a loss leader with chickens. In our case, we don't make a profit, so it's not really a loss leader, it's just a loss. We haven't raised rates in 5 or 6 years anyway. The recollection's pretty fuzzy on what that is. And we are not covering our costs, so we are, extremely not covering our costs. We estimated that, I think the cost in 2026 will be $127,000. If, without any adjustment to our rates, we're looking at, $12,650 is what we're gonna revenue. So
Covering about 10% of the
about
cost.
10%. We'd be out of business if we were private. So that's why I talked to our friends at Nisley, because we've had a good track record with them on the recycle program. We've had 0 complaints on their service. They have a pretty good reputation. So I asked them to come and give us a bid on what they would consider that being, so we had something to measure ourselves against. And so Marvin is here, excuse me, Merrill's here.
My boss is
Oh, that's right, yeah. Well, there's a Marvin in there somewhere. Anyway, I've asked him to share what their proposal is, and that's the letter you have in your packet.
Okay. Would you be willing to come up here and see if there's any questions, or do you have a presentation you wanted to make?
Not necessarily, but you guys have been talking about finances all night long, and we got the solution. Or at least the tool for your toolbox.
Okay.
The way it would work is we would put a card out at everyone's house, and then you would give us a count every month, and then we would crisscross the city and pick it up and dump it. And beautiful green card, like that one over there.
Is that the same size as the recyclables cards?
Yep, exactly
Okay.
the same size.
Somehow in green it looks smaller.
And it has little windlass on the front that you probably can't see from there, but it helps hold it down, hold the lid down in the wind.
Tell me how, walk me through it. If we, right now, I put my trash in bags and put it in my container. The city will pick up stuff that's not in bags. I mean, it's not like some places where it's just a hard whatever, but for the most part, you're encouraged to and are supposed to put it in bags. I'm assuming that this will not be the case with you?
We prefer to have it in bags. It's
Oh,
better for,
okay.
for not blowing out of the truck and not making a big mess at the
Okay.
transfer station and landfill. But we instruct our drivers not to leave trash. And that doesn't mean that we want every landlord with, 3 rental homes to put all his trash out. That's not, we're not here for that necessarily, but we're here to take your trash. And for the average person, I mean, that card's usually enough. I would say maybe 20% of our customers need 2 carts. And so we would, what we propose here, if you have it in your notes there are several different prices depending on what kind of contract you would sign and how you would want us to go about the city. But the lowest cost is if we did a 10-year agreement and we did either single alley, where like our automatic truck, we do need it on one side of the alley. It would help you guys, it would help your alley, our trucks only travel down the alley once. But in that case, it would be $14 a month and then $10 a month, or, excuse me, $7 a month for an extra cart. And then a lot of our cities will add an extra $1 or $2 for processing or call it whatever they want to.
Administrative fee.
Administrative fee, exactly.
Because we are still doing all the admin work on our side for this process, for billing, et cetera. and tracking who's, et cetera, everything we do right now.
And one thing we would definitely need to discuss, so your prices are really low, and we would definitely need to discuss commercial pricing. It's going to, if we took over, it would need to come close to doubling, if not doubling. We feel it's kind of subsidized by the city now, with the prices that are there now. Then we would also, though, we would want to put bigger containers out and dump. So like someone maybe now has a 3-yard, I didn't look at your sheet yet.
Yeah.
But someone maybe has a 3-yard dump twice a week, we would do a 6-yard dump it once a week. Just logistically smarter in every way.
How many business, do we have currently? Do
I
pick
gave
up?
my
I know
sheet.
I'm gonna throw you a question you won't be able to probably answer right off the top of your head.
It's 100 something.
Yeah, roughly, yeah.
Okay.
And they're anywhere from 2 times to 5 times a week right now. A lot of 2 and 3 pickups a week, not so many on the 5. There's a couple that are daily during the week. Half dozen, 10, something like that. It wasn't a great number.
And that's something we'd want to hammer out if we,
Yeah.
Yeah.
because we don't want to do 5 times a week, obviously. Like 2 times a week. But with an 8-yard, 2 times a week, that's a lot of trash.
Yeah.
On the residential side of things, would a truck come in and do the whole town in one day, or would it take a couple of days?
I think we discussed two days.
Okay.
Yeah, not one, I don't think we get it done quite in one day, but 2 days.
And you'd be dumping here at the local transfer station
Yes.
or hauling anywhere else?
Yep, right here. Yep.
What would be the issues on, say at the holidays, Christmas time, there's usually a lot of cardboard, a lot of boxes, and that'd be the one time I'd see them overfilling that or having extra beside it. Do you have a policy, or what would be a way for the city to go about addressing that, or just see what happens? type
No
of-
policy, we just pick it up. And so we have a lot more trash.
That's
this time of year.
that's just the day your drivers have to get out and do a little extra
Yep.
grunt work.
The nature of the beast. If people would simply break down their cardboard really good, that would be a huge difference.
Okay.
But a lot of people like to put out boxes.
Yeah,
That-
but you're not gonna just only pick up and abandon all the cardboard and let it
No.
blow around and be
No.
like, well,
No,
you didn't read the rules. You gotta
no,
find
none
your own
of that.
cardboard. Okay.
Yep, yeah, we'll pick it up.
So I could put my cardboard out with my recycling, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
If you
Yes.
have recycling, so.
Yeah.
If you have recycling.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is just for trash only.
Yeah.
We would just leave a subscription base for the people that have recycling
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
That way they're the ones paying for it. No one else gets mad.
This wouldn't give any discount to any residents that would have both commercial, or their regular trash pickup, and if they also were doing recyclable.
No.
It would still remain the same
It-
rates.
yeah,
There isn't
yeah,
like
it'd be
any
the
sort of
same,
discount
yeah.
for doing both.
As someone who would be in that position, I don't like the tone of that answer. That
Well,
was
we
an
can talk,
excellent
we can
question,
talk.
Tim.
Well, you never know. With that, unless it was subsidized by the city, in which case that's not what we're trying to do. We're trying to get out of expenses.
Nothing's set in concrete here.
Yeah. But I mean, that'd be a potential way that if we were to subsidize for those that had both, to get a little bit of, to encourage both, if that was what the city was wanting to do.
Yeah, we can talk about that. We should talk about price increases too. So it does not say this on here, but if you went with a 10-year, so what we would do is lock in the first 2 years at the same price, at the $14, and then we would do an annual CPI increase if you go with a 5-year contract, and then if you go with a 10-year contract, we would raise that just every 2 years. And I explained that to Brian.
Yeah.
I'm sure he understands CPI better than I do.
Cost of living increase. Yeah. Cost of
And do you
doing business.
anticipate that to be a certain amount, like 4%? And would it be capped?
Marvin and I were talking about this literally today, and if we go back 10 years, it's been, so we go off of a pretty specific CPI, which is water, sewer, trash, and it's literally gone up about 4% over 10 years, over 5 years, but if we go back 10 years, it's gone up 3%. So COVID just jumped everything else, everything up. And we would be willing to talk about a cap too on that.
Yeah, just you can't use that to
But,
really surprise us.
I think it's something we need to consider. This is the first time that we have talked about it, to my knowledge, in a meeting. I was really surprised when I looked across Eric and saw the paper had that the city was considering this. I guess you knew that it was on the agenda. I want I think it's really important because of the nature of this. I mean, how much more personal can it get than your trash? I want opportunities for the public to weigh in, and definitely want two other council members here. I mean, you know it's not on for action tonight anyway, but, but if you have questions, I would encourage you guys and to talk, ask your friends and neighbors, what do they think?
So then, like on the commercial side, then you said you provide the containers? And then
Yes,
it's
so we
just,
provide all the containers, every container in town. And on the, that's something I should have mentioned, on the commercial, so we could discuss whether the city bills or we bill. We would prefer to bill directly. It just seems to work better that way. That's what we do in most of our towns. Because so, say if the city does it, then, say a customer, ABC Parts wants trash. Well, then they call us and say, well, you gotta call the city. So the city calls them, and they gotta call us. And it's just a lot of rigmarole for just, if they would contact us directly, we feel that works better.
so you just wanna build the commercial side, and then the residential would still go through the city?
We feel that works best.
Okay.
And that's how it is in most of the towns that we operate in.
What's the suggested retail price of a tote like that?
$75.
So you're getting that
Yes.
by signing up. What would be the policy? A new resident, a new sign up, you get that, they move, a year later, someone else comes in. If they were to take the old one, is there a fee? Or, just addressing with changing of residents, how that's addressed, with you or with the city, and how we'd go about that?
There's no official position. We hope they don't take it, but certainly sometimes they do. But I mean, it's our cart, but we're not gonna throw a fit. I mean, just by the
Don't have
time
trackers, don't have trackers on them all the
No,
time.
we don't. By the time they
Kansas
move,
City?
it's gonna be used pretty well, and we're not too worried about that.
But it's for every new resident that would sign up a new contract with the city for utilities, they would be the one that would be issued a new one.
Yes, and
And
we
moving forward after.
Yes, and
Right.
typically what we do is we just, at the city shop, we give you 10 carts and you just keep a rotation of them. And so if someone calls and Joe Smith needs a new cart, he calls City Hall brings him a new cart. If you guys, I mean, that's typically how we do it.
I mean, currently now, every city resident gets billed for trash whether they put it out or not, correct?
That's correct.
And we're surely not gonna give them the option to do that. Okay,
No.
it would stick the same?
Same program.
Okay.
Tying it to your other utilities really helps too,
Right.
for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
Well, that's what, I didn't wanna give them the option to not do it, because then people with commercial dumpsters would get them filled up quicker.
Yeah.
Right. So, at the cost, in the budget numbers I gave you briefly, we were allowing $15,000 a year to either go to truck maintenance or replacement. Our trucks are old. Replacement is probably more on the horizon than repair, and that's gonna be more than $15,000 in a year to take care of that. And we have to have at least two to be able to do the job. Third's helpful if one of those breaks down. That's why we have three.
And you
Just-
still probably have to raise our rates to this or more to even change that
Yeah.
from 10% to 11%.
Exactly. The bonus of that system is they're doing more than one town, they can afford to do it at that rate, because they're doing multiple cities with same trucks, same drivers.
Well,
We
they're
can't-
also doing it with one guy in a truck that picks it up itself.
Right, instead of two.
Much
Absolutely,
more efficient.
yes. They're the experts. We're good at it, we do a nice job, and people appreciate what's been done. But yeah,
I noticed you brought us a show and tell.
Show and tell. Okay,
We
so-
wouldn't want to miss out on this.
No, I don't wanna bug it around for nothing. Okay, so this tire on this side, this is the one that typically comes on the front. So all the weight of a truck, everyone's concerned about their streets, obviously, and their alleys. And so on a typical trash truck, the weight on the back is not the problem, it's the weight on the front. And this is just the typical tire that comes on like a side loader or a front load truck. And so we spend about $1,000 extra on each truck just to it's just a bigger tire. We use it on our roll-off trucks for better flotation in muddy areas and whatnot. So we started putting them on all of our city type trucks, it reduces the ground pressure about 26% on the front. And so we figure that's worth the time and money.
Sure.
It's not gonna fix any street, but it's a tool in a toolbox.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Any other questions?
Not really. There more is gonna be for our side of things after we make that change with selling trucks and all that.
Why don't we, what I would like to suggest is that we move on from this with the understanding that we will encourage public comment on the issue. And when and if we are willing to consider making a change, we will make certain that it's on the agenda and well publicized a couple of times before we make any move on it.
That's fine, yeah.
What kind of timeline are you looking at? Do you even have a timeline in mind? Okay. Just when it happens.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think they need a couple of months post our decision if we choose to move forward in order to get this order.
So if we were to choose to move forward within 2 months, you would still need a lead time of another month or two?
I mean, we gotta
kick off.
buy at least one semi-load of carts, probably two, and get them in.
There's no back order or anything on that that's gonna take forever to get them in, or?
Actually, it's not too bad right now.
Yeah.
We can get them in about, I think, 6 weeks or so. But just getting routes figured out, it just takes a little time. We did a thing lately where we were super up against the wall and we had to do it like within 2 weeks, and it was the girls in the office have threatened us.
So, as long
So
as
it's
our,
their deadline then, not yours.
so pending our trucks breaking down, right now our deadline's pretty flexible, right?
Yeah, and the cost that we're
What?
losing money on it daily.
But I mean,
Yeah.
if a truck broke down and we're facing a huge
Yeah,
expense.
we could survive one truck going down, but not two. Yeah,
We're gonna have to do some thinking about, we have Old Settlers Day, Chingawassa Days, and Art in the Park that traditionally our city guys have worked with the organizers to have extra dumpsters and do like a Saturday pickup, things like that. We'll have to talk about how we're gonna accomplish that. We have the spring cleanup where we're picking up
With the loader and.
everything, yeah. And Brian and I talked about that. I mean, that very well, we could do a dump truck.
pretty much that's what we're using already, is dump truck to do that spring cleanup.
Hey, I should have mentioned that too. So in all of our towns, we do some kind of cleanup. Some of them, we have several different ways we do it. We used to do curbside, but we're trying to get away from that just because of the work comp issues and getting drivers to work. Because trash truck drivers literally never have a holiday, because if they're off on Christmas, they gotta work Saturday to make up for it. And so we're trying to get away from that. But we do a thing called reserve a dumpster, where we set a couple dumpsters in town. If you ever drive through Burton and you see a bunch of dumpsters sitting there, we have dumpsters there, and they're on rotation. And so they call the city hall, it's called city office, and they get one set in front of their house for a week, and they schedule that out. And so that's something we'd be willing to look at, or even setting a couple roll-offs. In some of our towns, we set roll-offs for a certain amount of time in the spring or the fall. Citizens fill them up. And so there are several different things we can talk about there. And then also what you talked about, the festivals and that stuff, we always do, we provide free service for those kind of things.
Oh,
And that would be listed in the contract, like all the city buildings, we get free trash service. And then usually we'll provide toilets and trash carts for, some kind of, whatever.
Would you like to have a rhino painted like a,
I was gonna give her my card and tell her we'll talk about it, right?
World's largest rhino dumpster. Is there any other issues you have with items that should not be put in the dumpsters? And then how is that addressed when it's with the city, coming through the city, say if Paris puts his transmission in he's gonna change out his car in his dumpster, that you guys can't lift, and it's a controlled substance kind of thing. Is that something you guys would address? That's something the city would have to address, or we don't know, we'd work it out?
It's
Or
different.
does that even happen that often?
It doesn't happen that often. Sometimes, like I believe here, mattresses, I think they charge now for mattresses,
Yeah.
do they not?
they do?
Okay, so we can't just throw a mattress in there.
And they usually don't take like a appliance if it's got Freon in it, you gotta drain the Freon. So I just didn't know how that would be handled with you guys, if someone's doing that.
That would have to be worked out. We would have to talk about that, exactly how we want to do it. Tires, paint, and batteries are the three big no-nos that no one wants in their landfill. And so that stuff's just, you can't do that. But we can't see it if it's in there necessarily. So it depends on the landfill to pick it out.
Well, the county has a pretty good,
Yeah,
the
they have a
paint
pretty good
part, they
process.
got that all taken care of
Okay.
for us, so.
Okay. But yeah, we would just have to work out bulky items and stuff like that.
Yeah. I don't know if there would then be fines or that for those that would be in violation of, and again, to add to our ordinance, for those that putting things in the trash that are in violation, we're then have to pay extra for it through the county to dispose of.
Speaking of your ordinance, I might mention, we usually start earlier than 8 o'clock in the morning.
Okay.
We typically start more around 6-ish. Just 'cause we gotta get to the, gotta get to the transfer station in case something breaks down, which
Well,
it does every now and then.
When you're coming from
The
out of town to
ordinance
get here too.
allows you
so-
to put out the day before, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
They put
We
fire-
encourage it the night,
yeah.
I always put my trash out on Sunday night. I know that it's gonna get picked up on Monday morning.
Most people in town don't have as big and hefty of a trash can as that isn't gonna blow away, or the cats aren't gonna get into overnight.
Cats can't get into that?
The bears, looks like it's got the bear latch on it, right?
Yes. Also, I should just mention, I mean, it's so nice to go, like, we started doing the city of North Newton 3 years ago or so, and before that, they didn't have any uniform. Basically, I'm not sure if you guys know what happened there, but they had a guy who was a recycling guy, but he also did the trash, and so it was like Old Testament law as far as the keeping everything straight, and you had to put it in a bag and double tie it, and if you didn't, you'd get thrown back up in the yard. But anyway, so all the citizens were all
I like
in
that.
uproar. They were in uproar because now they're gonna have all these stupid trash carts in their driveways and in their garages, but now that they have them, they love them, and it's nice to go. I have one in my garage, it's just super nice to go out and throw it in there, and not have to worry about a bag getting torn open or anything like that. And Brian says you guys buy bags, and so you wouldn't have to do that anymore either.
That was the coolest thing of moving to Marion, to be able to come to the city building and get a trash can.
Good, Jay?
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay.
Yeah,
Appreciate
thank
your
you.
time.
Are you okay if I leave my can again, just in case people wanna
Sure.
Yeah.
Google over or anything?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
You're way more excited about those containers than most of us.
Just wait till you have them. All right, well, thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you
you.
very much. Oh, sure.
Let's move on to item 15, the 2026 meeting change dates. All of these, well, you've got them, all of them are days where there's a Monday holiday. January 19, February 16, September 7. Proposal, consistent with prior action, is to move each of them to the next day. So Tuesday, January 20, Tuesday, February 17, and Tuesday, September 8. We would still need to, like it popped up when we did the one earlier this month, we need to make sure that those are in advance of a holiday like that. We need to make sure we have something special on our website in case somebody, like the gentleman last week, was planning to be at the meeting and gets here and, oh, it's tomorrow. So that, and we also need to, this does take, it requires official council action, but I think we would want to, at the council meeting preceding the one that's gonna be different, mention that the next one will be on a Tuesday. Everything we can to do, make people aware.
Right.
Will there also be the issue at the end of next year for the very last meeting of the year where it needs to be pushed back in order to get billing and stuff like we did this year? Just to know that in advance too. I mean, if we could plan that
It
year ahead, it would
depends,
help.
that's gonna depend. I mean, I'm on my own right now, so that's why I had
Gotcha.
trouble keeping up. If we get somebody hired for the other position,
It
then
wouldn't be
it'll
as much
free
of
up
a,
my time.
gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's plenty of time to do it, but I didn't know if it was gonna happen anyway, if we needed to address that as well, so.
Yeah, no, yeah, hopefully we'll have that seat filled pretty soon after first year here.
So.
I make a motion then.
Oh, thank you, go
that
ahead.
I move that we accept this city holiday schedule for those 3 dates, January 19th, February 16th, and September 7th, to move to the next business day for our regular council meeting at the same time.
I'll second that. Any discussion, Kevin?
Nope.
All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes have it unanimously. And just make sure we do our proper notices as we go forward. Okay, Brian, council work study session schedule.
Yeah, we have a couple big items that need to be discussed from our prior council meeting this month. We talked about the International Building Code and the International Existing Building Code. You all wanted to hear some more information on trying to get that updated because it helps our historical district that we're hoping to hear from soon from the state, would assist business owner or building owners in getting that work done.
Well, and be able to
Yeah,
only have to do an amount that's economically feasible, I guess.
right,
you might
right,
say.
and by the guidelines of that.
Yeah.
Also, we have a group in the community that's working on a proposal for a community event center, and they would like to also present that at the study session, and then we need to follow up with you on the items 4, 5, and 6 in the strategic plan. That will probably fill an hour and a half easily, maybe even close to 2. So we're gonna ask for one meeting on the 26th of January to cover that, unless you have a date that's preferred otherwise.
When I saw that, I cringed. It's Judy's birthday, but hopefully I will have,
Bring her along.
We'll have a cake.
We could,
Entertainment.
What else was she gonna do?
we could get a cake, I'm sure.
That way, this way she doesn't have to be alone with you. It's a gift.
she can just be alone. I will make it work, let's put it that way.
Okay, well, it's flexible, we could go to the 27th.
No, the
Okay.
26th. Well, unless there was a reason that somebody wanted to go to 27.
I mean, right now, we have 2 absent members, so I don't know. I didn't look at the school calendar to see what was happening.
I don't think there's anything on the school calendar, so.
I'm good with either day.
Well, I mean, there's always something on the school calendar. Nothing that's so major that we wouldn't make it,
Okay,
I would think. On the 27th, 26th. Well, in that case, I move that we have the study session on January 26th. Monday, January 26th at 5 PM.
I'll second.
Thought this
Thoughts,
might be
Kevin?
the one time you vote no, because it's one meeting.
No, we need to do it. We need to talk about these things. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed, nay? Ayes have it. Thank you.
we'll plan to do that upstairs in the room that's a little more conducive for gathering at a table and having that discussion, if that's all right.
Yeah,
Okay,
absolutely.
appreciate that. We also need a little bit of time to get ready for the IPC, EBC, so that's why it's later in the month and not earlier.
To do your homework.
Yes. That said, we may have a need to do some other study sessions, February, maybe March, so. Otherwise, we're gonna stack our council meetings up pretty long. And
Why don't you put that on as an agenda item for discussion, obviously, but at the study session, we can talk about when we want to do other study sessions, whether we want to have regularly scheduled throughout the year or do them as they come or whatever.
Okay, fair enough. Well, we'll try to line up what we think we need to discuss at those as well. Let you know.
Item 15 was executive session, which it is basically Brian's 6-month review review, evaluation, whatever. We're not gonna be able to do that for a while, so we'll put it back on when we have a full council here.
Sure. You let me know when. If you want on the next meeting, we can do it, or whenever you want to do it.
I mean, I feel like we need to, when we do it, I think we need to set it for an hour so that we have plenty of time. We got 5 people that, and 6 people that are gonna be talking about whatever. And I don't wanna have to come out and go back in again.
Sure.
But at the same, no, this would have been okay, but I wanna make sure the council knows that this is they're gonna have to plan on being here a little later.
Gives us 10 minutes apiece.
Right, well, yeah. Fair enough, we could do it that way, and at least keep it at that, limit it to that much.
Yeah.
Okay, is there a motion with regard to item 16?
Item 16, I'll pull back up.
It's your motion, Tim.
There it is, making sure I move that we adjourn this meeting.
Okay. Is there a second there,
I'll
Kevin?
second.
Motion and second, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Ayes have it.